He didn't say anything after that. But he didn't leave either. And that told me more than words ever could. Because men like him don't stay where they're uncertain. They remove it. Immediately. And I was still there. Which meant this wasn't over. Most people would have explained. His voice was calm, controlled. I met his gaze, but not for long, just enough. Most people don't understand when to stay quiet. A pause, not tension. Measurement.
You didn't react.
He said. I did, I answered. Just not the way you expected. That was the moment something shifted. Not attraction. Not warmth. Interest. The kind a man like him reserves for things that are useful. And I understood that language. Because I speak it too. Soul doesn't reward sentiment. It rewards leverage. And if I was going to make it here, I needed to become something that couldn't be removed. And then it became clear. What happened that night wasn't random. It was contained, too controlled, too precise. A disruption that stopped before it became damage. A drill. Not to protect the house, to observe it. To see who moves, who speaks, who panics. And who doesn't. Because drills like that don't work the first time. They work when they become familiar. When people stop questioning them. When they start calling them routine. And that's when the real one happens. Not louder, not bigger. Just real. And treated like nothing. That's when it breaks. I looked at him again. This time differently. Not as someone in control, but as someone managing pressure. The kind you don't show. Because what he was protecting wasn't just power. It was what came after it. I'd seen them once, briefly, moving through the east corridor like they owned the silence. 2 boys. Same face. Same walk. His walk. The twins. No one had introduced them to me. No one had needed to. But what I noticed wasn't the resemblance. It was the gap. No woman walking behind them. No voice calling them back. No hand adjusting a collar. Just 2 boys. Moving through a house built for power. With no one to tell them to eat. I filed that away. Not with feeling. With calculation. Because I came to Seoul to make it. And in a house like this, usefulness is the only currency that matters. And then something clicked. A conversation I almost ignored. Weeks ago. A few men speaking in Korean. Quiet. Careless. I didn't understand everything. But I understood enough. Don't rush it. Let it settle. Break the structure first. At the time, it meant nothing. Now, it meant everything. Because this wasn't about force. It was about timing. About making the house comfortable before making it vulnerable. And if someone was targeting this structure, the weakest point wasn't the men with guns. It was the 2 boys in the east corridor, with no one guarding what they felt. I didn't say any of that. Not yet. Because in a house like this, information isn't shared. It's used. He didn't ask me to stay, and I didn't ask to leave. But something had already been decided. By both of us. Separately. In the same silence. And if I was right, then the next time this house was tested, it wouldn't be practice. It would be the moment everything changes. And I intended to still be standing when it did.